Welcome to Skippable News, where you can skip to the part you want by going to the menu in the description below, or via the progress bar. Watching at home on a television via those archaic things called cable or satellite TV. Welcome to non-skippable news. I am the cat in charge this week, and here are this week's top stories. We have Eastern Sierra Interpretive Association, both Jeff and Tom, in to conclude that interview we started last week. We also have Douglas Cooper and Chris Langley as they talk about homelessness and mental health in the area. We have a new interview with Adam Perez from Los Angeles DWP. We have Donna from Mule Days, as well as Sarah Sheehan from Mule Days. Talking about Mule Days, this is going to be an epic event. If you don't have time to come down, watch online. We're going to stream it, but not like we did last year. This year we're going to have a pre-show and a post-show, and we're going to have commentators. And in between, when they're setting up the arena, we'll have interviews for you to be able to watch. I think it's going to be a really good time. I think it's something you're not going to want to miss. We'd always love to have you in person, but if you can't, most definitely tune into the broadcast at muledays.org or by looking up Laughing Parrot Productions on YouTube. Anyway, you know what to do from here on out. Happy skipping, Skippy Skippies.
We have climbers coming here, and you and Savannah are interacting with them, help education, stewardship projects. But there were a couple times like Savannah went to the Bay Area to some of the climbing gyms, and then you and her went to the Tahoe area to meet with some climbers that they're the ones visiting this area. So how successful do you think those events were, and is that something that should be continued?
That's a great question, Jeff. And the big thing with it is, if measuring success is kind of a difficult thing, because if you talk to one person and that one person does the right behavior because they talk to you instead of the wrong behavior, they come in informed about responsible campfires in an established campground. Like, that is a huge success. Quantifiable as one person, if you're just looking at numbers, one person, is that successful? Right. But that one person is now informed. They are going to be a responsible steward of the land and their use when they come out here. So it's a really difficult number to quantify in terms of success. But if you generally look at it, like Savannah and I, we went up to, Savannah went to the Bay Area. She and I went up to Reno and Tahoe, a few gyms there. And just with that trip, here in the last couple of weeks, we've run into a number of people that were like, oh, hey, I saw you guys at the gym the other week. If anything, even if they didn't talk to us while we were there at that gym, and we talked to a ton of people. We've got some great, trivia engagement exercises. But even if we don't talk to them, when they come here and they see us, it will be more, it'll be less intimidating. They'll be more, open to talking to us and be like, oh, hey, you're familiar. Oh, tell me about what you do again. And we have that opportunity to engage them and talk about Leave No Trace. So I think it's a really successful program, should definitely be continued. There's so many things that we could be doing out there.
Okay. So of the 7 months you were experiencing, I think we've asked this question before, the last couple episodes that we had on this. So what was the most challenging situation that you came across during this 7-month period?
I think most of them revolve around dispersed camping. Okay. And ironically enough, very, very few of those I would associate as being climbing related. Dispersed camping, there are many, many users. Some of them are climbers of various form. But in general, if we just look at dispersed camping as this generic use in and around, our beloved lands out here, they often get they get damaged. Some folks don't understand the ethic of dispersed camping. They don't understand that there's no maintenance of these lands. There's no services. There's no trash service. The idea of with dispersed camping is that you camp within an impacted zone. Some people will think, well, my car is where the impacted zone is, and now I'll put my tent, and build a living room and, and my whole living space outside of the impacted area, and that thereby expands the impacted area. So a lot of stuff with dispersed camping has been a big time draw, as well as an issue area with going out and picking up trash, going out and just tidying things up, trying to brush out footprints, and letting know the BLM has an awesome restoration team for the winter season, letting them know, hey, these are some areas where probably it would benefit from getting restoration so that impact doesn't continue. Then the other thing that we did have a few times this year was we had 4 incidents of graffiti. And that is not within the climbing areas. I don't know what user group did this, but we found these at different areas. We worked closely with the BLM to get these graffiti pieces removed. All very successful. If you know exactly where that graffiti was and you look closely, you'll be able to see reminiscence of it. But largely, that graffiti has been removed, 99% of it. So I think those are really successful. But those are kind of the biggest things, is the general areas in vicinities of the climbing areas. And again, not to associate it as a climber or a non-climber, but that dispersed camping use is, I think, the heaviest impact on our region.
Yeah, which is a huge impact, definitely. So, and on a positive, anything that comes to mind that was like, wow, this was something really neat and need to share this experience it had that was a very positive experience?
The first one is a decision that Savannah made for us to do our Climbers Coffee, which we'll do every weekend at the PV Pit Campground. It was really cool to see that decision. In the years past, we've done them at different trailheads, etc., where all climbers are going up to the trailheads. But the idea came up, well, maybe we can do this at an established campground for 2 reasons. One, to get folks while they're getting out of bed, waking up, getting out of the tent, and before they go out to their climbing areas, because they'll disperse to many different areas. There's lots of things to do out here, and there's also non-climbers at these established campsites. But then the second is to give a thank you for staying in an established campground and just reinforce good behavior instead of punishing bad behavior. I think it was probably one of the more successful things this season, just to see that decision kind of propagate and solidify. And folks are starting to expect, oh, I'm going to go stay in the PV Pit Campground because on Saturday or Sunday, there's going to be a Climbers Coffee. And we'll go around, we'll set up and we'll walk around the campsite, campgrounds, and just say everyone, hey, we've got coffee till 10 o'clock, come down, talk about Leave No Trace with us. People will come down. We'll talk to them for a few minutes. Some will stay there and chat our ears off for 30 minutes. We'll talk about all the things. We'll give them excellent information on, if they are here for climbing or just for general recreation and visitation. We'll talk to them about, oh, yeah, you want to check out this spot or you want to go here. So they have that value add, and there's also that opportunity for us to drop little knowledge bombs on Leave No Trace.
Oh, that's great. So I think it's important to recognize Peter from Black Coffee. Black Sheep Coffee for providing the coffee for those climber coffees that we had. So thanks to Peter for that.
I think we served a total of 43 gallons of Black Sheep coffee this season.
Wow.
With a rough estimate of around 600 interactions on the Climbers Coffee.
Okay, that's great. So looking at being the 3rd season for the Climbing Rangers and being this last 7 months, is it something that we need to continue, or is it sort of run its term of providing the benefit?
Yeah. I think it's a proven concept. There have been, over this season, I know that there have been different user groups that have been seeing the impact that the Climbing Ranger program has had and are looking at their own ways to emulate a similar concept. That's the thing out in our area here is sustainable recreation isn't based on one user group. It's all user groups, and all user groups have that sort of responsibility. It's that fundamental leave no trace aspect of any outdoor recreation. So, I think hands down, it's a proven concept. It needs to continue to grow, to evolve. And I know that, again, many other user groups are looking to this program as an example to emulate, for their own user group or broadly for the region, to acknowledge, this ability for this public-private partnership to work with ECR, other agencies, to have, the ability to work with BLM, DWP, Forest Service, these different entities to kind of tie this all together because our recreational users, whatever your recreation method, it's across all these agencies and all these lands. So this kind of program that we have, being able to kind of work across the lines, helps everybody, helps the region, and I think it's tremendous success.
Great. Well, I appreciate, Tim, that you being here and talking about the Climbing Ranger program, and I would say that it's going to continue into the future, so we do appreciate that. And again, great time for opportunity to share with the viewers with regard to what's the Climbing Ranger program and what's happening. Again, I'm Jeff Gabriel with the Eastern Sierra Interpretive Association, and we appreciate Tim Golden joining us this morning. We'd like you to educate, explore, and inspire.
Well, you're very outgoing. I mean,
Well,
I've experienced you several times talking about things, life, and everything else. So that, I think, helps too. Just because you are you.
Well, I don't like the axiom knowledge is power, but what I'd rather think of knowledge is freedom from ignorance. And having been homeless, if one thing that I really got out of it, that's an important thing in this world, it's humility.
And now it sounds like you may have some help that you didn't expect to have with your what is it called, the
Section 8 voucher. The last time we discussed it, I'd pretty much given up hope, but we're working really hard, me and a social worker, to try to see what I managed actually to get a second extension. I didn't even know I could do that. I'm hoping that I'm able to get to the point where I can utilize it, but we're going to have to what they call port it to another county because there's just absolutely no housing here. There was going to be, but everything went out the door when Amaka crashed.
Yeah, we were talking about Amaka before you got here, and how are they doing? Because I'm on the county school board, and we took back their 6 preschools, and we don't have to ask for money because we think we can run them without adding to the expenses of for our budget. But I'm not quite sure where Amaka's going, but they seem to be trying to do the things that they have been doing, but that always takes money. So are you still involved at all with Amaka, or?
I haven't gone to see them in some time. The last time we did anything was when I went over there to get a copy of my Section 8 voucher. But the way I figure it's there that they can't really help me anymore. It's kind of really unfortunate because a lot of other people have a similar problem.
When you think about homelessness, are there solutions that come to mind, how we can better handle the problem and address it?
Well, in a place like Los Angeles, and I don't hate Los Angeles, it's where I'm from, but they honestly waited too long. Now they've got a place that popped up next to a park that I visit sometimes in North Hollywood that I found out it looks like a prison camp. It's actually a place, they've got small cubicle cabins. They're trying to put up homeless people there, but I think that's a real deep kind of subject that takes a lot of thinking and a lot of maybe looking around. I think maybe one problem is that people, or maybe perhaps the powers that be, they don't either want to do anything, or maybe they don't have anyone that knows about homelessness firsthand. Perhaps the money that is supposed to be for a program, maybe it doesn't reach that program, knowing how governments work. When I was in Mexico, in Ensenada, I saw a phenomenal housing project. Phenomenal. And it's in the mountains. And all the way up, there's a winding road all the way up. And they've got cement houses that are in the mountains. I mean, it's incredible. And they probably built it for next to nothing compared to what we would. The trouble is they ran into problems with water and power. But you've got to have people in the government that have the money that want to do this. and there's just so much red tape.
The will to do it, basically, because you have to overcome a lot of obstacles. We're going to continue our discussion. So it's been great seeing you, and you look great. You seem to be managing your life pretty well.
Hello, and welcome to Eye on the Inyo. I'm Jimmy T. Today we have Adam Perez, manager of the Aqueduct from the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. Adam, welcome.
Jimmy T, good to be here.
Can you tell us what LADWP is doing to alleviate the current drought conditions?
Yeah, I can do that, Jimmy T. And I'll first start off with talking about the conditions that are currently going on right now in the state of California. Overall, we're in the third year of a drought. Lots of impacts statewide with the reservoirs going dry that are currently within the state water system that brings water down from the Delta, Bay Delta. As well as we're seeing dry conditions pretty much throughout the different actions in the cities as well. So what the city is doing is just kind of continuing along with a lot of the conservation efforts that we've already kind of put in place. Over the last 30 years, the city has had and implemented many conservation programs and efforts. But I will talk about just currently what was recently announced by the mayor of Los Angeles, Mr. Eric Garcetti. He put together a plan to try to get us through this drought. And what he's done is we've going from what they call phase 2 to phase 3 in regards to actions for the city, basically conservation plans. So under the phase 2, it was a 3 days of watering, outdoor watering that was allowed for the ratepayers, for the population there in the city of Los Angeles. And now we've gone to this phase 3, which is now moving to 2 days of watering. And you may be thinking, well, is 2 days enough? But what I want to talk about is the city of Los Angeles has done a lot. I talked about the 30 years, but we've already been in phase 3. I'm sorry, in phase 2 since 2009. So the city has already put forth, this 3 days of watering since 2009. Moving now to this 2 days of watering is basically what we're working towards. And what we feel with this, now move to a 1 day reduction, but looking at everything else that is within the overall city programming. So we have now, in terms of turf removal, we have 51 million square feet of turf removal that has happened in the city of Los Angeles. We have overall, in terms of water consumption and use, over the last 15 years, the city has dropped 30% in overall its water use. Also in its residential per capita use, we use this water of gallons per capita per day. The residents right now are at 74 gallons per capita per day there in city of Los Angeles. The statewide average is 91. So the ratepayers, I believe, are doing their part. We are implementing more aggressive actions to get through these drought conditions with the hope that we can get through it. I think this year will be fine. Obviously, the questions will be what happens next year. I think right now we need to move past, we basically implement what we can in terms of our conservation programs, and really, we'll start thinking and planning for potential dry conditions next year. But really, I think the focus is trying to get through this year. That's the main focus right now, what we have.
Good. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm Jimmy T with Eye on the Inyo. This is Adam Perez, the manager of the Aqueduct for LADWP.
Hi, I'm Jason Brown, and I'm here with Donna Bird. Donna Bird, you're an executive director of Mule Days, correct?
That is correct.
All right. How long have you been a part of Mule Days?
I began helping as an adult Mule Days almost 20 years ago, but growing up here, you literally start out carrying banners in the parade and selling magazines and things like that, and then you just work your way up in responsibilities.
And tell you where you're at.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you some of the standard questions I've been asking everybody else.
Okay.
What's your favorite part of Mule Days?
My favorite
And you
part...
can't say the ending.
No.
Because I know that it's a lot of work, and by the end, you're ready to go home and kind of be done. But
And sleep
in
for-
anticipation of coming, what's your favorite part?
My favorite part is literally the feeling, the energy that it brings to the town, and the the people coming together. You know, our motto is when the town becomes a team. And you see that, and you see these people who come from far away to be a part of this family, and it really is a family. Overall, that's my favorite part.
Yeah, it's like our little town talking about, you know, the community coming together, but with everybody coming in from outside. I've seen years where it feels like town is upward of 40,000 people.
Right.
I mean, it gets huge here.
Right.
Like the park is swelling over with RVs, and we got the back lot swelling over RVs. And I'm looking forward to hopefully here in the future, now that COVID's kind of disappearing a little, hopefully gone,
Yeah.
that we'll be able to see that again.
Yeah, we, according to the count we use as far as the hotel occupancy and, you know, our RV sales, and we check in with the other campgrounds and stuff, we estimate that we bring 30,000 people to our events.
Wow, see, that's what I said.
I
It
know,
almost
right?
swells to 40,000
Right.
people. So another question we've been asking everybody else, what is your favorite event at Mule Days?
Oh gosh. You know, I'm pretty partial to the chariots, the chariot races and the chariot barrel races, and of course everybody loves the scrambles, you know, but I have to say I have a fondness in my heart for the chariots.
That's mine too. It really is. It really is. Let's pause. It says, what do you look forward to? Didn't we kind of answer that?
Well, yeah, I would say I like that answer, so we can skip that one.
Okay.
I would say it was just like an addition to if we needed more
Okay.
stuff.
Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
So, Donna, big event, lots of things going on.
Oh yes.
Any special events that we need to know about?
Of course, we have our beloved parade is coming back this year,
Right,
after
absolutely.
a 2-year absence. So everyone is so excited about that. So don't miss the parade. We have Susie Bogus, who's has been trying to perform for us for 3 years now.
And we get it.
And now we get her. Dave Stamey is going to be providing free music on the COSO Energy stage.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
After we wrap up our Sunday show, we want to say thank you to everyone who came and was a part of our 2022. And so we're putting on a free Dave Stamey concert.
Oh, that is wonderful. So if you're tuning in and you're watching live streaming here, this is the reason why maybe next year you need to think about getting in that car or your truck or your RV or your fifth wheel or whatever you can do to get down here to Bishop and actually see this in person and be a part of all the extra events that are happening around everything that you're not seeing. Before we leave, how about you give us like a message to everybody out there?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to all our local merchants who give so generously. Our sponsors, both here and afar, you know, thank you so much. You help make this happen. And our small army of volunteers, it could definitely not happen without you. What people don't understand or are not aware of, this event is put on 99.9% volunteers who come together for 1 week a year and do things that they don't do the rest of the year, and they do it just in a magnificent manner. So
with
thank
a smile
you.
on their face.
Yes, they stand out in the heat, the sun, the rain, the snow, and we just couldn't do it without you. And yeah, like Jason said, you need to come and you need to be a part of it, because there's a special feeling in the community during the event, and once you come, you'll be hooked for life.
Yeah, you know, I've had people comment to me, family members, other people outside of the community, that always thought that Mule Days was just the parade. And now that we've been live streaming out there, they're like, oh wow, you mean you guys do more? Yes,
Right.
a lot more that you're not seeing, that you need to come down to Bishop, California. Plan it now, as it gets busy in May at Mule Days.
Yep.
So
Yes, it does.
Well, thank you.
Make your motel reservations right now for
That's
next
right.
year.
That's right. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Hi, Jason Brown here. We're talking all things Mule Days. I got Sarah Sheehan. She is the driving chairman, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So what does the driving chairman do?
Well, I'm responsible for all the driving events. We have events for driving a single mule as well as teams. We have pleasure classes. We have obstacle classes. We have youth. We have a farm class, Americana. And so our classes reflect a lot of the heritage of the mule and the traditions of how the mule has been used over time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about driving the mules, like, can you give us a specific event that?
Well, probably farm class is my favorite class because our contestants really get into it in terms of finding farm implements that have been used in the past. Most of them have been used all over the world, and in some places are still in use. And so when they come up for auction or a farm sale, we have contestants that seek these out and then bring them to Mule Days and actually use them in our farm class, show us how they operate.
Oh, wow.
So
That's cool.
That's a real special class. The other really special class is Americana, where our contestants again search for stagecoaches, buggies, hearses, different vehicles that have been pulled by mules in the past, and then they get into the attire, the harness, any of the accompanying people, implements that would have been used at that time. So that's pretty special.
Yeah, that's cool. How long have you volunteered at Mule Days?
27 years.
27 years. What keeps you coming back? Why do you do it?
Why do I do it? I love being part of the team. I love the people. I love what they bring. I love being able to share in the story, in the whole legacy of the mule.
The history of the mule.
Right.
Okay, so not an event, but what would be your favorite part of Mule Days?
The people.
The people.
The people. Absolutely the people. They come from all over the country. They have had...
All over the world.
All over the world, right. And some of them are... this is the only show they go to. They absolutely love it. It's just like a huge reunion of people.
Yeah.
And they help each other. I mean, the camaraderie, the knowledge, I mean, they just are there for each other in so many ways.
Yeah, and they're friendly people.
Oh, friendly. I mean, you can't go anywhere without getting a lot of hugs.
Yeah, yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, they're great people. Okay, now let's talk events. What would be your favorite event at Mule Days?
Well, probably the two that I already mentioned, the farm class, and that is where the contestants are asked to go one at a time with their implement, operating it, showing just exactly how it works. They usually tell how they acquired it, what year it was manufactured, where it was manufactured, and some of the implements require one mule, some are multiple mules are needed to pull it.
Wow, cool. All right, this is my favorite question. You're just walking out of the arena. You're tired, you're hungry, a smell from the vendors hits your nose. What are you going to go eat?
Oh, wow. Oh, there's so many wonderful things. I love barbecue.
Okay.
It's just, right there at the top of the list.
Bobby Tanner was just in, that's what he said, that barbecue
Yeah,
ribs.
that barbecue and cold beer.
Oh.
What a good combination.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, there's another reason why you need to not watch online and come down next year.
Absolutely.
So that you could have that cold beer and some hot ribs.
Right.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming in, Sarah, and talking with us.
My pleasure.
We'll be back.